what we had signed up for originally, but I would say credit to Joe. He was really inventive in trying to think of ways to keep people engaged. And I think it paid off because I feel like we were set up to do this daily show here during MLS is back, which is awesome.
That's what blew me away. And like, when we'll talk about it, like when we get on the technical air, but like the fact that you guys are doing this daily and you're willing to take this time right now to talk goalkeeping for an hour, I was like, wow, okay. This person really, really
I need to learn
tactics.
things about goalkeeping as well, because I'm like some of these questions you have, I'm like, no, I need to know from you guys what's up, because I don't know. You know how it is with field players and goalies. It's like, that is foreign territory to me.
My favorite is like when like field players go, look, I don't know if this was good or not. Like, can you just tell me? Like, it's like we have like this magic spell that nobody else knows. By the way, I can't believe that I dropped these lights. Like, I'm such an idiot. I literally just got these lights today. Like, they came from Amazon today. I was setting them up. I was so proud. I was like, I'm going to have a professional podcast studio in my place. And as I'm setting them up, I guess I should have put sandbags down or something. I wasn't thinking.
Did they just tip or what?
Yeah, they just tipped.
Both of them?
Just one of them. I only put up one, thankfully. So all the other ones are now locked up in my room. But but like, I don't know if you know, like little, like when like lights shatter and it's on carpet, it's not a good thing.
Oh no, it's like in those little carpet things.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's in those little carpet areas, which
those are like
those little crevices. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see where.
I don't know, like, how they're kind of like loopy sometimes.
Yeah, hold on.
I was trying to see if I had Saskia. I think I have a photo of her with her from last year.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh. Here she is.
Boom.
Boom. Whoa. How are you?
I like it.
I'm good. Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I got my Rutgers swag on today.
I like it.
Well, I know. I got a whole little gift box from them last week, which was super sweet, right?
Wow.
That's really nice.
I know.
I was just trying to see if I had. I swear I have a photo with all you guys from the game last year.
Oh, the one at the Rose Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was so much fun. Oh. I keep getting like the this time last year posts on like Facebook and stuff. Yeah. I'm like, oh man. I was like,
Yep.
I love those girls. They're amazing. And we had Michelle on last week, so that was hilarious.
Yeah, how'd that go?
She was hilarious. Her and Amanda both.
Yeah, and then Amanda Cromwell jumped on, but Michelle she was just so. She said she wanted to come on because she wanted to school us goalkeepers. But it was actually a really good conversation, because to hear like what she thinks from like a striker point of view.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm just going to grab some water.
How she looks at us goalkeepers and what we're doing wrong and how she takes advantage of it.
You're like, thanks. Well, I wish I would have known this a while ago.
Yeah, I was like, I trained against you and I was your like kicking girl like forever. Like, you just used to blow me to the back of the
I got you here in the background. Just like,
there I am. Yeah, that was fun.
That was great. I have like a lot of pictures of Lauren, Cheney, and me. That's pretty much all I had there.
Yeah, no, sorry. I was, it's amazing that I'm like locked down and I still find myself running short on time.
Oh. Yeah.
Things always pop up.
Like,
Yeah.
I had two of the most random things happen this week. One is I had a deadline to put a packet together for Saturday Night Live for a writing gig there. And
what? Wait, what?
Oh yeah.
You didn't tell me about that.
Nah, I didn't tell anybody. I was
That's cool.
Mike, writing gig for Saturday Night Live?
Well, we'll see. I mean, I it's a submission. It's just a
Hey, Lauren Michaels. Look out.
We'll see how it goes, and then I have a Colbert, the same thing for Stephen Colbert for
That's awesome.
This weekend. Yeah.
I think that goes down in one of those things that everybody like, I win a World Cup and everything. What else would you like to do? I'd be like, live in New York, it's Saturday night. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I don't want to go to Disneyland. I want to host Saturday Night Live.
I'm like, absolutely. I think I'm funny.
Yeah.
Saskia, you're definitely opinionated. That's for sure.
You love it, Mike.
No, I do. Unfortunately, Omar cannot be with us today.
Okay.
He's got to deal with something that I cannot discuss on the air. I can tell you guys privately, but he'll be all right.
No, I do.
It's nothing serious or anything like that. It's just like a last minute
He's scared.
situation. He's scared. He's scared to talk to Jordan about tactics. That's what it is. He's absolutely terrified. Yeah. That's what it is. He's like, he doesn't want, and he also probably doesn't want to give away all the secrets of his breakdowns on Instagram and all that.
There you go.
Like he doesn't want anyone to know about that. All right. I'm glad I've got my sparkling blood orange beverage here.
Yeah, what is that? It looks delicious. Oh, Pellegrino.
I feel like if I do this, like that's probably like a copyright infringement or something like that.
Yeah, so. Sideways drinks.
Got to put that right there.
Double shot espresso.
Ooh.
Yum.
Light with
Look
cream.
at that.
It's when I get too lazy to make my coffee.
Mm-hmm. I had one of those earlier. I got like a nitro cold brew.
Oh, the nitro cold brew, the triple shot. I love those.
Yeah.
Like I really need them, but I love them.
I mean, probably not. I probably don't need them either, but.
I absolutely don't need them.
By the way, does it look dark here? Because
no,
Saskia, you missed it. So you know the new lights that I bought, all the lights for a podcast studio. I put up one and I shattered it.
Oh.
It fell over. As I literally walked away from it and it fell and just shattered.
I hate when stuff like that happens.
It's all over my floor. But I'm going to hold it in. I'm going to be a professional like that. Yeah.
You'll survive, Mike.
All right, you guys ready to do this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Welcome to Inside the 18. I'm Michael Magid, live from Los Angeles, California, where I just shattered all the lights in my living room to break the fourth wall. If I seem a little flustered, everyone, that is exactly why. We just got new lights for the podcast, and I set up one set, and it falls down, which means that from now on, I am not doing that. I am going to let some other human being do that because I clearly don't know what I'm doing. With me, 99 World Cup winner, Saskia Weber, and joining us today, because we're going to talk some real tactics today. You know her as the co-host of MLS Assist, Jordan Angeli. What is up?
Mike, you told me right before this you weren't going to tell anybody about the lights, and then you come in fast and furious with the lights.
It's
I'm doing
really
well.
hard.
I know it is hard. I'm doing well, and I'm actually just happy that you're okay, because when those lights shatter, they're like everywhere.
Oh, it's crazy. And the thing is, like, your life flashes before your eyes, right? Because like
I don't know. I gotta trust.
Well, you don't have animals. If it shatters around animals, then you gotta worry about them getting into it and all that stuff. So
yeah,
you'll survive, Mike.
Yeah.
And look, I have the Dyson up today, so you can't hear the other fan. Because he can always hear my other fan, because I'm in like this old 1920 Spanish style awesome building, but it's like there's no AC.
Yeah.
Saskia also has a new microphone which is not attached yet, but we're working on that. It's gonna happen. Jordan's got like, look at this full setup you've got. You've got like the most incredible like view here. Yeah, I mean, like everything is all set up just like it looks like a very like adult type of place, like a professional adult.
What the heck's that supposed to mean?
No, I'm not talking about you.
I'm talking about pretty good.
I'm like, I've got all the books, so I look studious. And I haven't read a single one of those because they're all Shannon's. And if you actually zoomed in, they're all biographies. And it's not like, Winston Churchill's biography. It's like, Lady Diana, Demi Moore's, stuff like that, which is a good read. But,
That is so funny.
I have my shelf.
I actually had my crew stuff. We did a crew show yesterday, so I figured I would take that down. I try to keep it neutral when I'm not in Crewville. Yeah.
Well, it's funny, Jordan, speaking of that, you're just incredible like that. Look at that segue right there. Cause I was just going to say, for the audience out there who might not be familiar and might be like, I think they just put a friend of theirs on the show right now to just talk about Saskia's books. No, Jordan is one of the best tactical minds out there on the broadcasting side. So Jordan, kind of, why don't you explain to the audience out there, what you do for Columbus Crew, what you do with Joe Lowry with MLS Assist, and how you kind of got into that world after your NWSL career.
Well, that was a very kind compliment. I'll just say thank you for that first and foremost. I was a professional soccer player, and I had a lot of injuries in my time playing, but I also played a lot of different positions. So I grew up and I played every position except goalkeeper. Sorry, guys. I played goalie once, actually, when I was like 10, and it was definitely not my thing. So I played every position. I had all these injuries, and it really gave me this mind to see the game in a different way, I think. And so when I was going through my last injury, I was like, well, what's going to be next? Like, what do I want to do? Because I didn't know if I was going to be able to recover from this third ACL injury. Yeah. And I started doing broadcasting. And so that was 10 years ago. And now I have found my way to be the TV analyst on Fox Sports Ohio for the Columbus Crew. And so it's really great. I am working in MLS with a great team, the oldest team in MLS. And this crew that I get to work with on the TV side has just been fantastic. And before I made the move to Columbus, right before the season, I met Joe Lowry, who has been writing for The Athletic over the 2019 season, and he did a lot of stuff with tactics. And we got connected actually through Bobby Warshaw, who worked for MLS Soccer.com. And Joe was like, I want to do this tactics podcast. I don't really know what it looks like, but let's give it a go. And so we gave it a test run last fall and really enjoyed it. And so we launched in January, and now we're finally back to games, which is amazing. I know we're all really happy about that. And we've been doing a daily podcast during MLS is back, which has been really fun, just talking a little bit on every single game. Some games we dive into a little bit more, but just kind of giving our thoughts of what's happening.
Nice.
Has it been like less overwhelming because the fact that like you guys have just been waiting so long to actually have games to actually talk about? You're like, yes, just give me games. I don't care, every day.
Yes, but actually today with only one game, I'm feeling so much better. Those back-to-back days with 3 games, and for me, I'm on the East Coast, so by the time we're done recording, it's 2 a.m. And I'm one of those people that loves her sleep. Like I'm like an 8-hour sleep person, and I would say I feel a lot better today. But I'm so thankful that games are back. It's been really fun to talk about all these teams and all of the things that are happening and the wild results and the good play and some of the not so good play.
Oh, we'll talk about it. I'm sitting here. I'm like, when can we get to it?
I mean, well, first let's
me right now.
No, I know which clip you want to go to right away. Like poor Saskia, the way well, actually not poor Saskia.
I was texting him
T Miller, but
I was like, what in the world?
I think on the podcast I said like, I just feel terrible.
I don't feel terrible. We'll get to it. I don't feel bad at all.
All right, so let's
you should feel bad that I had to watch that. Now I have to explain it.
Yeah.
Well, let's first off, let's just start right here. So for the people out there who might be listening from another country, the MLS is back tournament is what we're referring to right now. It's in group stage right now. I think it's 4 games and 2 teams out of every group, Jordan, make it out.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is? And then the top 4 outside of that advance as well too. So Orlando and Philadelphia are already through. Orlando with that home field advantage, I guess you would call it.
They look like it though, honestly.
I know.
Well, if you're used to training in Florida, It's home field advantage.
And Saskia, that's one of the things that I said last night, and what I've been thinking about is like, you don't have to do any of the mental thing of like, oh my gosh, this heat, like, how are we going to get through it? Like, They don't even think about that. So then all your focus is going on what you're actually doing. And I think it's underestimated how, I'm not surprised Houston had a good first game either, because of the same reason.
The same thing. Houston's brutal in the summer.
Yeah,
and I agree with you 100%. There is an advantage there. And a team coming from Canada or Utah or something, there's nothing to be said. That humidity, that heat, it just saps your system. I mean, we were training the other day, and it was here. It's a dry heat, but it was like 120 on the field. And I came home. I almost threw. I almost threw up. Yeah. And because I haven't trained outside. I've been on Zoom, and I was a coach, and I came home. My entire body cramped. Everything, like I could not get hydrated fast enough. And so if you're not used to that and you're getting these games so close together and everything,
it's a lot.
Yeah. No, it absolutely is. So, Jordan, let's kind of talk about some of the trends that we're kind of seeing right now. Obviously, it looks like Columbus is looking absolutely unreal. And I know you're not biased in any way whatsoever, but oh my gosh. Wow. I mean, they look like the team to beat so far.
Columbus looked really good, and I'm not going to disagree with you there. I'm not going to disagree with you, but Cincinnati struggled, and they just, I think it's a really quick turnaround to have a new coach in Jaap Stam, who's a great coach and will do great things with them, but it's kind of this hodgepodge of team that's not his team, and then he has to bring them together in a couple of weeks to then play in this tournament. Like, you're asking a lot out of them, and I just think that Columbus recognized a couple weaknesses that they could pounce on, and they kept the ball. Like, Columbus wants to be a team who has the ball, and in this tournament, if you're without the ball,
100%,
you are going to struggle.
And that goes back to what we were saying as well. Yeah, it goes back to that. If you're chasing 90% of the game, you're not going to win over the duration of this tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you brought up a really good point in regards to playing possession soccer. I think, and personally in this type of an environment, I think is the way to go. I mean, poor guys, I see them wearing their masks on the sidelines, and I'm like, oh, it's like wearing a wet rag. I mean, it's so humid there.
It's hard.
The one thing I do want to bring up with you, Jordan, is San Jose. I want to bring up San Jose because obviously Almeida goes man marking. Can you keep that up? Can you keep that up in this tournament, or are they just going to die?
I don't think you can keep it up. I thought San Jose did a good job when they did a good job with the ball, that I think allowed them to relieve some of that man marking pressure because they didn't have to defend as much, right? But if you don't have the ball, and I can't off the top of my head think of their group and who they have upcoming, but again, if they're without the ball and they're having to chase, and if they are turning the ball over a lot, that's gonna be difficult for them. I don't know. Like, I thought that he was gonna change it slightly and maybe implement a man marking and then maybe some zonal as they switch from the counter press like into more of a tactical block, but we didn't see that. And I thought Seattle right away did what is the smartest thing, is you just run people out of the zone that you want to expose. Jordan Morris brought, I think it was Tommy Thompson, from the right back into the center of the field, and then that whole channel was open. And I think if teams do that a little bit more often and keep the ball against them, it's going to be really tough for San Jose.
Yeah, and you also absolutely, and I'm just going to keep going back to this. They're not game fit.
Yeah.
I don't care what. Like, you're asking a lot for a team to man mark for an entire tournament when you haven't had that much time together. You're not at the end of the season. You're in your only part of the season. You're in a couple-week tournament. That's it. You haven't been together training at that level, and you're in Orlando. And they can't keep that up.
We didn't see San Jose play well until a couple months into last season, right? Or get the hang of this man marking, because their fitness wasn't there. And it's like, you have a couple weeks to get your fitness there. And
absolutely.
I want to bring up this right here. You just mentioned Seattle, and I kind of want to start getting into goalkeeping. So, Jordan, get ready to get into the weeds here.
Okay.
Stefan Frei.
She's like, okay.
Stefan Frei. I mean, I thought, to be honest with you, for a first game, he kind of showed why he's one of the most consistent goalkeepers. It's funny, him and Luis Robles both kind of like, I was like, okay, this is why having a veteran presence in goal in a tournament like this is so important, because Stefan didn't meet I feel like he's been one of the most consistent goalkeepers in MLS year after year, makes good decisions, parries the ball when he can't hold on to it into good spaces. You don't see Stefan give it a lot of rebounds into spaces where they can easily hammer the ball. Pedro Gallese, I'm talking to you. But certain goalkeepers have that affinity to do stuff like that. Jordan, you agree?
I do. The one thing I think is a little bit difficult for Frei in this tournament, what I've seen is Seattle's back line is not what it used to be. And for years, they were a very good back line. So even you guys could attest to this, like even when you're a goalkeeper and you are making those saves, well, you're probably making them because you can see them ahead of time, right? Or you can see where your defenders.
You could have played goalkeeper.
What'd you say?
You could have played a goalkeeper. You could have played in the goal.
Well, they're
tactics, yeah.
Yeah. They're leading the attackers into a space where, okay, I have a line of vision. I can say, okay, well, if they're going to shoot, it's probably going to be in this space. You know, you're almost playing through all these angles and things in your mind as well. And so I think that they had really good defenders for a long time, Chad Marshall, Kim Keehee, and now with this turnover, especially in that center back, like Stefan Frei is good at goalkeeper, but he's also good at organizing his back line. And I think that is a little bit of I feel like he's being challenged in that area right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of gone back and forth with this question, like, what do you want? Do you want that person that is a journeyman and can organize and do all that, but with everything, with lack of game fitness, with not playing together, with new back lines, with everything, like, do you need somebody that's that up and coming that's just because they're gonna get more shots and they're used to getting, and do you need that one that's gonna just be making the saves? Because as much as you can organize, if the team's not getting organized, there's nothing you can do about it. And so if they're not clicking, then you need that goalkeeper that's kind of on point and ready to go and can make those big saves, because now they're having to. And as much as you're 100% correct, you're pushing people into certain areas, certain angles to make the shots easier and stuff like that. But if your back line isn't on point, you could be trying to do that, they don't get it, and then they're cutting inside, and now the whole goal is wide open. And now you need that goalkeeper that's going to be that incredible athlete coming up with those huge saves and a younger goalkeeper. So it's kind of a give and take here.
I mean, look, it's a tough situation because, I mean, if you look at Seattle's situation, their backup is Trey Muse, who I still think needs a lot of work in regards to what I saw with whatever they're called now, Tacoma. Are they called Tacoma? What are they? They're twos.
Seattle 2? I don't know.
Seattle 2? Are they called Seattle 2? This is not a USL show, clearly.
Seattle 2, I like that. Seattle 2.
Again, Inter's in a tough spot, and Luis Robles, Jordan, I know before the tournament even started, you felt he was someone to watch in the tournament.
I think they're Tacoma Defiance.
Tacoma Defiance. Yeah. Yeah.
Popped into my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Robles is a tried and true goalkeeper in this league, right? And I think with the Red Bulls, because of the style that they play, you're going to get broken down. They're a high press, high intensity team that when they get broken down, you have to trust that your goalkeeper is going to make big saves. And he's done that time and time again. It's been, I don't know, this Miami team really, I want to like them. Like, I really want to like what they're doing. And I think that they had glimpses last night, but there is a mentality for me. I wouldn't say it's so much Robles. I feel like it might be just the culmination of all these things that are happening. You haven't played a long time. You're a new team. You don't really understand maybe your responsibilities fully, but there's been just like these little lapses. I think that's been the mistakes. I don't think it's really been Robles if I'm thinking of the goals that have been scored against them.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said, like, people watching it and everything like that. Like, and if you're not big, you don't just oh, you get a bunch of great soccer players, you put them on a team, and it's a new team, and that's that. I mean, there's something to be said about a history and about like understanding where you're from, who you're representing, what you're doing, a system, and everything. And you can't just, it'd be great if you could just pick and choose and everybody plays great, but that's just not how it works. So
yeah.
I want to like them too. Trust me. I do.
I would have liked it more if they had full pink, like,
I know.
face kits. Like,
what is this, like,
that.
little pink? Like,
if they had gone full forward
pink.
Madison, like forward Madison style.
Full pink.
There you go.
Because I like the symbol with the what's the bird on it and everything. But I'm just like, I thought that I was going to get some pink too.
Right. We were ready for it.
I want to talk about this. I want to talk about Red Bull because you just brought them up, obviously, Robles' old team. And now David Janssen is apparently he's the number one from what I'm seeing with Red Bull right now, the Danish goalkeeper, who I didn't know that much about, to be honest with you. I don't watch a lot of Danish Superliga, so that might have been, my mistake right there. But I kind of want to get back to like this is incredible save. It was like the 97th minute against Atlanta. I think it was Lorenowitz. He played this service in to Adam Jan. It was a header from the center of the box, and then the ball was speared. Jordan, did you see that play, or should I pull it up?
Can you pull it up?
Absolutely.
Pull it up.
My brain is like, I know it, I've seen it, but I think I'm confusing that with there was another save late in the game. I think it was New England Revolution. Turner made a save. So
I'm going to pull that up.
Many games.
I know. That's the problem. There's just so many games. There's so many games. Okay. So can everyone see this right here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to full screen it here so everyone can kind of see if I can figure out how to do that. And okay, there we go. All right. So here's the service. Great service from Lorenowitz. Look at that to Jan. So now look at Jensen's position right there. He's clearly in a great spot right there. He's not leaning one way or another. He's nice and square. And that ball's played. And look at that quick reaction. Look at his eyes, though. His eyes, the nose and chin are following that ball, which makes it easy to go with that outside hand to push that ball over like that. So I think that's a brilliant save, especially coming up in a key moment like this. Look how high Jan got right there for that ball.
Right.
And then look at that touch right across.
Yeah.
But do you see how he follows it all the way through? How many young goalkeepers? I want you guys to see that because there's so many times where young goalkeepers, they just stop. They just make contact and then they just stop. He goes all the way through it right there.
He's hitting it and then push.
Well, he's shooting through his whole body. And so what you want to teach a goalkeeper is you're not just kind of waving at a ball. Okay, so if your power comes from your core and from your chest, you're shooting up and through the ball. That means it's a follow through. That means the ball will go up and over. You see so many young kids and they stick their hand up and the ball goes in. So you want to do everything you do. Your power wants to come through your body and a follow through. Like in any sport.
Same like physics as a shot, you want
exactly.
to make it right.
You don't just want to hit the ball. You want a follow through. So same fit. Yes.
It's so funny.
I learned something there too. That's cool.
I was going to just say, I feel like Joe was talking to you earlier and he's like, oh, make sure to ask some questions when you get on the show. Like make sure to ask some questions.
No, I'm just like actually curious. And it's cool to me too that you guys, you're clearly watching the goalkeepers intently in this. Mm-hmm. And I'll look at the goalkeeper's positioning and watch that. I'm thinking more like John should have hit it onto the opposite side where it came from. You're going back. The goalie's just transitioning. Bring them back.
He made it easy on it. And that was what was funny about that was what was interesting about having Michelle on last week when we were talking about a through ball that went through in the NWSL game, and we were looking at it from the positioning of the goalkeeper, and all she said, well, the forward was the one that made the mistake because they should have cut it back inside. Number one, they would have gotten a PK because they would have gotten takedown. Number two, to open the goal up. So just that different perspective. But yes, for us, I mean, trust me, and I'm the most opinionated person. We looked first, his eyes were 100% locked in and on the ball. And when when you could see that in a goalkeeper, in his mind, like, yes, it's a great save for you watching, but it probably was in slow motion for him.
Right.
And he was like, oh, here it is. Boom.
And I love that because now you guys are actually teaching me things that I can go and when I'm watching games, even so the follow through with that, but his eyes too. And like, watching all the way.
Because you see the cross come in. So you'll see the cross come in. His head, he knows where the end point of that cross is going to be. So you teach a kid, you're not following the cross, right? Yeah. The ball. Because when it hits somebody, now you're behind, right? So you judge that loft and your head is already to the end point. Do you understand?
Yeah. That makes so much sense.
Right. You're not going with the ball. If you go with the ball, you're going to get beat. Right? So you're like, okay, here comes the ball. Now your eyes are here. So now you're set and ready and your eyes are focused on the second part of that save.
That's cool.
All right, guys. Do you want to
Tyler, can we go? Can we do it? Can we do it?
Yes, I know that's where you want to go. Okay, so for those you guys,
besides me like screaming and yelling the other day.
if those of you were under a rock this weekend, you have not heard about the Sporting KC Minnesota United game or Tyler Miller.
Whatever.
Anyway, I'm gonna pull it up in case anyone didn't see it. But basically, what happened is Polito plays a ball to Shelton. Tyler Miller starts going early, even though Shelton's shoulders are still pointed at the whatchamacallit, at the near post, and then we see what happens. Let me pull that up.
Saskia had her eyes closed that whole time, just shaking her head.
It was so.
It's like one of those things that if you're a coach, the head coach looks down the bench and you're just like, I don't teach him that.
Is that what you guys are doing over there?
You're like
those cones.
We're getting in trouble.
Cones.
That's what you're teaching. You have so many.
All right, we need to move the team over. We need to move the keeper back to the team. Okay, so anyway, there's that ball. There's Molina. Here's the ball. Now Shelton just goes full on to the near post. I mean, look at his shoulders. Everybody, look at his shoulders. They are clearly still square with the near post.
You are overanalyzing the field player right now. This is 100% his fault. I have no idea. I do have an idea what he's doing. I know what he was trying to do.
He was trying to juke him, right? Just like
he was trying to, in a sense, bait him, right?
Yeah.
Bait him. But as a goalkeeper, that's the only explanation I can give for this.
Right? So you can see right when he comes in right here, right? Okay, so here's Tyler, right? Okay, so as you can see, he's there. I think it's just personally high IQ in regards to reading the game and trying to get a jump on the game.
Thinking he's going to slot that ball. I get it.
But the problem is that it's telegraphed. He literally telegraphs it, and that's my issue with it.
Is that your word for it?
Okay.
What else would you call it?
I get that he thinks that other player, I think it's Jerso.
But here's the problem.
Running, but it's a 1v1 in there. You have to have some trust in your defender that he's gonna.
Thank you. And that's not your problem.
Right.
That's not your problem at all. If he's not goal side, if he hasn't marked up on the weak side, that ball gets slotted and they bury it, that's your defense's problem.
Right.
It's not yours. Your problem is the person with the ball that's inside the 6, like 13 yards away from you. That's your only problem right now. That's it. So it's the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a long time. Even if you want to bait somebody, then it's a switch of energy. It's like a head bob. It's like a switch of energy. It's not 3 steps to the right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, Mike? It's not. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It was like the hokey pokey, like
it was like I'm gonna run over here, and the guy. Yeah, I'm gonna run over here because I'm gonna.
But I'm gonna play devil's advocate though.
There is no devil's advocate. Okay. Go ahead, go. Justify this.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. Okay. If you saw a young kid experimenting and trying something like this at the youth fields, you'd say, okay, they're figuring stuff out. They're learning stuff. They're figuring out what works, what doesn't work. This is technically an experimental tournament. Not every team is here to win it. Okay. So maybe this was
experimenting to get on the national team though.
What are you talking about?
I'm trying to be devil's advocate here.
If you want to experiment with that, do it in practice. And if you did it in practice, you'd realize it was the dumbest thing you've ever experimented with in your life. Okay? Like, number one, let's put it this way. He already had good position. Okay?
Yeah.
Without having to do it. Okay, he was several steps off the near post, and with some goalkeepers, I would say he was super off the near post anyway, right? But he already had position that if that ball was slotted, and it would have had to be slotted in between the 12 and the top of the 6, he still possibly could have gotten to it. I would hope, with just being an athlete, all right? But if not, again, trust your defense, trust that you organize, and trust that, and by the way, he was goal side on him, and had that ball gotten slotted, and he stayed where, and he couldn't get to it, I guarantee you the defender would have cleared it, or slid and got it, right? But you're talking about 2 giant steps to left, the hokey pokey, like you said, 2 giant steps to left from a guy that he's like, well, thanks. I'm just gonna bury it on you, and then he went with his feet. Don't even get me started on that. Like,
well, that was just an emergency. That was an emergency save, though. That was just trying to just get a body across.
I didn't notice that part.
Well, because he was on his heels at that point, because he had done whatever, karaoke, whatever you call it.
Look, Saskia, not everybody's won a World Cup, okay? You got to give some people a little bit of slack, okay?
It's not that. They're mess ups, and then they're fundamental. That's a breakdown. That's just, and I would love to know the conversation, like at halftime. What were you thinking? Like,
okay.
Do you think if you're a goalkeeping coach, you bring that up right away, or do you think you talk about that the day after?
He knows.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to tell you? We all know. The whole world knows. I know.
When that happened, I just said, "Oh no."
And then they lucked out because Sporting KC with the red card, and then obviously Emilia had to come out, and then Richard Sanchez came in, who, by the way,
the red card. Oh my God. Okay. That was a dumb play too.
Oh yeah, but you're for no red card there, or you're for
number one, he absolutely should have gotten a red card. Number two, why did you come out of the box?
Yeah,
that made no sense to me. Like, you're at the top of the box. We just talked about Michelle with that. Stand him up, force him to do something with the ball. Instead, what are you going to do coming out of the box as a goalkeeper with a forward barreling down on you full speed? Nothing but take him out, because you can't use your hands. And now we don't practice slide tackling. So, pretty much there's your red card. Yeah. If he had waited, Mike, if he had waited like a second more, stayed inside towards the top of his box, and just stood him up, his entire defense was back. Like, everybody was there. Just stand him up.
And you have to know who you're playing too. Like, I don't believe that Schoenfeld would have been able, at that rate of which he was running, to chip Emilia at that.
No way.
Find a way to get around him in that instant.
And
if it was Carlos Vela, maybe.
Yeah, but he's also going away from goal.
From the goal. Yeah.
He's going away from goal. So there was no real threat there, in a sense. He's going away from goal. So just jockey him, stand him up. Even if he beat you with a long touch at the top of the box, your whole team was recovering.
Yeah. And
he's so far off position that's not a major threat. But you just took him. It was a debacle.
Can I move on to something positive, goalkeeping wise?
I think they're great goalkeepers and stuff like that. But
I know.
They're 1,000% better than I would ever.
They're great goalkeepers, but they're debacles, and people want to understand our point of view on the breakdowns.
I know.
And with that, Saskia and Mike, I do think it's important to know that those decisions happen so quickly.
Absolutely.
And they're making those in milliseconds. So I think it is important to make that statement, because you guys know what it's like to be there, but I think people watching are like, why did he do that? Well,
right.
It doesn't, we were talking
about. I've gotten several red cards.
Yeah. It's just everything happens so much quicker than I think we understand.
And again, there's another conversation. He knows what he did. He knows he goes, why did I come out of the box? Why did I take him down?
Yeah. You could tell afterwards. He was like, oh gosh.
Yeah. Trust me, I've gotten plenty of red cards.
But then we did get a cameo of Richard Sanchez's new mustache. So that was
that was quality.
That was your text to me.
Someone's been working in the quarantine.
I know. Someone's put some work into that one. That is for sure.
I'm texting him being upset about that whole play, and he's just like, yeah, but the stash. And I'm like, oh my god.
All right, let's move into the two. There were 2 double saves within 24 hours. How crazy is that? on PKs. So I want to first start off with our RSL Colorado, which I know you and Joe didn't think was the most exciting game in the world, Jordan, based on some of the response that I saw in the
Honestly,
podcast.
For me, that day was very difficult to like. I was exhausted because we had our Columbus Crew game got pushed back. I didn't go to bed till 4:30 a.m. And then it was a long
needs her 8
game.
hours.
Yeah, I need my 8 hours. I already explained that. And then Sunday was the game day where there was like every game was happening in the world at one time. NWSL, MLS, like EPL, all these things. And by that 10:30 game, I was like cross-eyed, I swear. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I can't talk about this game, but we heard about it on Twitter. So I'll be talking about RSL next time.
Do you want to show the clips, Mike?
Let's show the clips right now. Okay, I'm gonna pull this up right here. Let me get it up here. I'm gonna share the screen with everybody here. Okay, so this right here. First, I'm gonna show this is what happened in regards to the play here. Mm-hmm. So ball's played back. Irwin comes out. Whoops. There we go. So clearly a penalty. I mean, there's really not much else you can say about that right there, right? Last man comes right into him, and here is now where we go over the PK, though. So here's what's great. So first off, I'm going to hold it right here.
Is that a yellow card, though?
Jordan?
Are you saying that did
he get any of the ball? I couldn't really tell.
Well, you have to have intention of going for the ball.
Okay, well, let's go back.
Got you. Thank you.
So okay. you don't have to get the ball, and it's that double jeopardy rule, right? Like you can't get a penalty kick and a red card because. So
look at that. The ball's there. He's nowhere near the ball. Momentum is taking him.
Yeah, but he looks like he's kind of going does he look like he's falling towards that direction?
Yeah, I think the other thing is the ball playable as well? Like that long touch, would he have caught up to that? I don't know. I mean, yellow card, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
It was a dumb back pass.
So now we go to the PK, and again, right here on the double save, comes through. Save and then recover. Beasler tries to get it. Nope, nothing.
No, he did incredibly well on it.
I think that's absolutely brilliant because this is the thing I always teach goalkeepers, young goalkeepers. You make that save on that PK, your recovery step is to where that ball came from.
Absolutely.
Immediately.
Yeah, you're not taking a snapshot.
So you're saying your next step is towards where you
played
the ball. Okay. Exactly.
Because you have to remember that everybody's running right at you. And usually that parry is not going to be very far. And with everybody running right at you, somebody's going to be on top of it right away.
Yeah.
So if that wasn't the case, that ball would have been outside the 18. But yeah, you got to get up and follow the ball, at least to some extent, because that it's going to be one of their players. Hopefully it would be one of yours to clear it. But he did very well on that.
I have a question, guys.
Sure.
What are you looking at as a goalkeeper when the striker or the player is about to kick a penalty?
Oh boy!
Give me all the tips. Give me all the little.
Is this when Michelle Akers was telling us like how to beat strikers?
No, I mean
all the visual cues.
I mean, I will take any of Michelle's tips every day of the week. She's the best player to ever play the game, and so I don't like.
A lot of people have different opinions about this. I can only give you mine and how I deal with penalty kicks, and it was something I considered myself very good at.
Yeah, you were good at it.
Because of my speed and my reaction, my athleticism, I knew that and we talked about this with Franz Hook, in order to beat me, you had to hit a perfect PK. So for me, I'm in a sense reacting to the ball.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm not going one way on the line, going the other way on the line. If anything, I'm taking that quick, maybe a little step forward, not like Bry in the World Cup final. I'm taking like a little step forward at the time the ball's striking, and then I'm going for the ball because with the distance I could cover, it has to beat me. It has to beat me into the corner and with pace.
Yeah.
If you know certain people, then that's scouting and everything like that. Do they know you know them? Yes, probably. And do they probably have more than one PK in their arsenal? I would hope so. But that's how I've always handled it. I think that's how Franca is a proponent for that as well. Because then you're forcing them.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of kids guess and guess and they guess and they guess. And they'll save some. But I that's how I truly feel about it. So I'm not into your hips. I'm not into, because you have somebody that's opening up their hips at that level, that ball can go the opposite direction with just as much pace. So you can't count on the whole hip thing. You can't count on where the feet are going.
That just takes incredible patience.
You got to kind of get out of your head.
Yeah.
Because there are times that you're like, oh, you get yourself thinking, I think I know where they're going to go, or something. Just react to the ball.
Well, should we look at one where it goes a different way? So now we're going to go Steve Clark.
And by the way, I think that's what he did there, because his pre-stretch was forward. He took
for the last PK.
He took a slight step forward and then he dove. So that's what I think.
Before we get to that, though, Jordan, are the Galaxy one of the worst defensive teams in the league right now? Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. I feel so bad for that.
Yeah, I don't think it's like just their back line either. I think as a unit, they're just a little discombobulated and they don't understand responsibilities. They were playing in a 4-4-2, which they had been playing in a different system, more of a 4-2-3-1 before the shutdown. And I think those in this last game, the outside players, those outside mids didn't really help defensively in areas that they could have, and it just left the defense high and dry. The one thing I don't like about the center backs of the Galaxy is they seem to have this nonchalantness about them. Like, it's just like, this is a tackle. Like, no, this is a tackle, and you're going to give up a goal.
This is a
you
tackle.
don't go into it. Yeah, so anyways, that's my point.
I like that.
All right, so here's Steve Clark, Chicharito. Talk about the pressure on him. Everyone's just like, get your first goal. Get your first MLS goal. Come on, let's do it. So first off, look at his positioning. Okay, so let's talk about that, Sask. Based on his positioning.
Unless he's going to take a step forward so he ends up on the line, which I think you can do, but I don't understand why he's in the goal.
So, watch what, yeah. You're supposed to have one foot, one part of your foot.
Right, at the strike. Yeah. I have to see what he's going to do, because I actually didn't see this one.
Okay, you did not see. Okay, so check this out. So, Chicharito comes up, straight run up. Clark steps. See, he started leaning and stepping as he went. Then he follows up. Boom, great save.
But the question there is number one.
He booty trapped the second.
I know
he did. He did
a big old scissor kick.
Look at this. He gets up, but he got up big. Up. Yeah, there we go.
So I do agree that he was already on his way. But is that scouting? Do you know where that person's always going? And in that case, I would never get mad at you if we sit here and we go through tape after tape after tape, and we always know that a certain person always goes a certain way no matter what. Then err on the side, like, be smart. It's it's a PK, because the distance between the ball and the goal and the timing, even if you blast it and you're going the right way, it can still beat you. So with the pace of the ball, so if if he always goes to your left, then go. Don't go so early that he puts it down the center and you look like a jackass. But save some face a little bit. I hate when they do that.
Yeah, I can only imagine how that feels.
It's never happened.
Oh, when they hit that little ball. Did you ever do that, Jordan?
No.
Power.
Yeah, because if it goes wrong,
I was like, you are going to score this goal, so you're going to kick it to the side of the net.
Hit that side.
Mine was power first.
Yeah.
Placement second.
Because if you're going to try to place it too lightly, then the keeper's going to get it. If you can blow it, Michelle Akers, just take the back of the net off, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Take the ball, and everybody into the goal with you.
I would say the goalkeeping on the women's side has continued to evolve, with producing so many more goalkeepers of really high quality. But I don't, when I was playing and growing up, I felt like there were a handful of good goalkeepers, but no, but now there's so many, right? And I didn't think that. I just felt like if you gave them a chance by not hitting it fast enough, they had the opportunity. I was like, if I hit it fast enough, they're probably not going to save it.
Right.
So
yeah,
that was my thought.
Jordan, quick question for you before we move on to some NWSL stuff here. What trends should we look at moving into week 2? Obviously, it's a really, really quick in regards to the setup of this tournament where kind of teams are going to get eliminated pretty quickly or advance pretty quickly. So what should we be looking for?
Just for week 2 or like throughout the rest of the group play?
I mean, throughout the rest of the group play. So
I would say I think teams are going to realize that they need to keep the ball more. And so there is potentially going to be a more emphasis, a greater emphasis on that, and maybe some teams trying to change the way that they play tactically. Like, example, the New York Red Bulls, high pressure. They're okay without having the ball, but can they do that? Like, if they win against Columbus, they basically are saying we're going to make it to the next round, right? So if they can get themselves into a place against Columbus where they utilize 30 minutes of like high press and they are able to get some goals, they're going to adapt, right? I think, like, so they don't waste as much energy. So I think that an adaptation, I don't think it's going to go that way though, by the way. I think adaptation by these teams is going to be key. And then once teams probably are in those top 2, like if teams get 2 wins and they know they're through the next round, you're going to see a lot of new players. I think just try to get some people, some opportunities, because at that point, I don't really think maybe some teams are saying like, oh, we could play this team or we could play this team. But I think at this point, we're saying that a lot of the teams are on the same, like, it's just like they're building at the same time. So you're not hitting a team like in Atlanta who are full steam ahead, in the middle of season. Everyone's kind of building at the same pace. So
I mean, LAFC looked pretty on cylinders.
Yeah, they did.
They're very scary. Yeah. I mean, I actually felt, I mean, in regards to Houston, that they managed that storm and again, like you're saying, if you're looking at this, obviously Tab, this is, his first time around with Houston and this is all a new thing, but I forgot who it was who brought this up. The fact that Tab Ramos has been in the youth national team program for so long. That was you that brought that up. I knew somebody had brought that up. Yeah. But it's true. He knows short form tournaments and he knows how to prepare guys on a short amount of time, as opposed to, I mean, and again, I was going to say Peter Vermes, but I'm scared to death of him as a person. So I'm not going to say Peter Vermes. Another MLS coach who's used to having an entire season, who maybe has only been involved in the club game for the majority of the amount of time.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this
opportunity for just players to get in, homegrowns to get in, players with not a lot of experience to get some good minutes under their belt in difficult circumstances. So I think you'll see a lot of changes in those last games.
I got a question about the 2 tournaments, okay? In regards to the NWSL and the MLS. Do most teams care about winning this thing, or are most teams using this, like you were saying, as an experimental situation?
I think they're completely different tournaments.
Okay.
One, because NWSL, you're just playing to play, really. Every single team made the playoffs. So I think it's going to be different now that the knockout rounds are happening. As far as the intensity of the games, not to say that the games haven't been intense, but I just think it's going to go up another level. And then for MLS, like, there's a lot of things on the line, because the group stage, you get regular season points. If there happens to be a regular season after this. And 2, then if you make it to the knockout round, well, if you've done some of the math, like, that's a good chunk of money you could be winning if your team wins.
It's $1 million. Yeah. And then if you win, you win $1 million, right?
Yeah. And a Champions League. And you've seen how Champions League can hurt when you're like trying to recover in the middle of a season, but what it does for your club and the exposure it can give your club when you're playing in Champions League is huge.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a big prize. And I think if you talk to any of those players, they're not just there, like, they don't want to lose. That's why they are professional athletes. They want to win, and they want to win every game. So I don't know. I don't know if some teams and some players in particular are just like, this is crazy, I don't want to be here. But to me, it has seemed like everybody's like willing to go for it.
Yeah, and it's not just exposure for your team at that level of Champions League, it's individually. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to go other places with your career, I mean, not everybody's watching MLS all over the world, no offense. But, you know what I mean? Like, that's exposure for you as well. So, yeah, there are things. I agree with you 100%. The NWSL is playing to play. You know, we had this talk earlier that, because we were talking about goalkeepers getting switched and stuff, and I go, well, what would you do as a coach? As a coach, for me, I would play everybody. I would, because what are you going to do? We're going to be on break now. Right? And then you're going to go into a draft. And what do you have? Do you even know what you have? Because, you know, so utilize this time. Yes, you want to win the tournament, great. But as a coach and as a general manager, everything, I would be like, let's see what we have, you know, in this short period.
Yeah. Especially when you talk NWSL goalkeepers.
Yes.
I just don't know if there's any more room for any more goalkeepers to come into this league. It is such a deep league of quality goalkeepers. And I'm like, a goalkeeper will be the third choice and step in. And I'm like, how is this happening?
Like let's talk Bella Bixby.
Yeah.
Who was Bella Bixby? Like, no disrespect. Like, I didn't know much about Bella Bixby at all until this tournament.
Me neither. And the first game, I was like...
But that's the argument that's the conversation that we had with the league so deep that I know everybody wants to play here because it is the best league in the world because of the depth of the league. But if you are third, if you are in a certain position and you can go to England, you can go to France, you can go to Spain, you can go somewhere, go. Because game experience is end all be all, and especially as a goalkeeper, we don't sub. Period. You know, we don't sub. So
well, and because the great thing about this league and it being around for as long as it has been around is players are staying and playing soccer for longer, and so it's really hard to break yourself into the team as a field player, and I think that same thing can. If you're not going to get playing time here, I think that there are certain environments that will help you become a better player, but you have to decide at the end of the day, playing games in a league in Sweden, in Norway, in
France, in anywhere.
France, yeah. Like if you have an opportunity to go, like I think it allows you to see the game. We as Americans don't typically see the variety of the game that is around the world. I think it gives you an exposure to that, and it allows you to then have a better opportunity of coming in and
because it depends on like what your thought, where you want to go with it, especially the younger goalkeepers, like because we're gonna say game experience is gonna trump all at certain levels in certain situations, especially like if you're trying to make the national team and stuff like that. Like those players that have played against certain other players and have played in games and games and games, they're going to get kind of the nod, or I've been there. So.
I want to talk about that real quickly before we move on into these matchups. Is that, like, for instance, it used to be with the older regime, not this current regime, not Vlaho's regime, is that if you were not playing in NWSL, it was much more difficult to get into the national team pool because out of sight, out of mind type of thing. Lindsay Horan made the decision to go overseas, and it wasn't until she came back that she really became a staple of the national team. Right, Jordan?
That's true. Yes.
But I think that's shame on the coaching staff.
Yeah, but I don't think Lindsay Horan would have been able to. Lindsay needed France to help her with Lindsay, and I think that players. You can't underestimate what it means for a player to go and learn what they need to learn living on their own in a different country. Like there's things that can be learned outside the field that can help you as a player on the field. And not even mentioning she was playing for PSG, which is the top club in the world. So
at 19 or something like that.
I think I think the change with Vlaho is going to affect where players maybe play. But I think what's going on, like, we just don't know. And I think if there's opportunities for players to go play in a league where there's soccer happening, well, they should go play in a league where soccer's happening for right now.
And you know what? We're not like Japan, playing pro in Japan put me on the 919, period. And no, we didn't have a league here. So I was in Japan. McMillan was in Japan. A bunch of us were. All the best players around the world were there. But, you know, guess what? Like you're going to get seen. You know, we have the internet. Hello, your tapes, your games, your clips. They're going to see you. You know, somebody
see us talking about soccer.
Somebody doesn't have to get on a flight and fly to Japan to see me play. You know, I mean, I would talk to Tony all the time. He's like, "You got beat 9-0." I was like, "I had 36 saves. What?" I go, "We suck. Sorry." You know, he's like, "Well, you're getting good game experience." I'm like, "I am." But at the same time, you know, those aren't things that you should worry about. And any coaching staff right now, that's if you nod towards the people that are only in the NWSL or even the MLS. You're an idiot. Like, because there are other players around the world right now that are getting time and good experience that should get a nod and get a serious look at.
Well, let's say these. Let's talk about the players that are in this tournament right now, because the fact is that like they are playing right now. So let's just give NWSL the fact they are playing right now.
Yes.
I want to talk about these matchups right now. Jordan, North Carolina. Apparently, they don't understand the idea of just playing a tournament. Paul Riley's all about just winning. They're the New England Patriots of the NWSL. And
I was gonna say, have you met Paul Riley? Of course he doesn't. Like,
although both LeBay and Roland have both been playing, though. He's been playing both keepers.
Which he should be.
Absolutely.
This
is an opportunity for you to do that.
Yeah. Saskia, I am also like, I'm kind of under the impression that we need to do that a little bit more with the national team, especially in years that
I agree.
You agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that there's not enough rotation in the goalkeeper position. And like leading into the last year's World Cup, people were like, who's Alyssa Nair? Can she do it? And I'm like, of course she can. But people like, she didn't have the opportunity to come in every now and then and feel like, I can do this. And then I think that it just needs to be done a little bit more frequently where.
I mean, if you look at my career, I was rostered for almost 200 games and I had 36 caps over 10 years because I sat behind Bri. And, you know, it's still 36 caps I'm proud of, but the 200 games sitting on the bench, you know, and it was still the best team in the world. And I have 2 World Cups and Olympics under my belt. But that being said, it's ridiculous. You know, in the off seasons, why not? Sometimes it's like, you know what? I'm going to take my number 2 and number 3 to the Algarve Cup. Nair, you have a break.
Yeah. I'm
going to put them in this situation against these teams in a tournament and see how they do. If you just keep playing the same goalkeeper, then there is a drop off. Then there is an issue, and nobody knew if Nair could do it. And yes, she came up with the PK save and everything. Good on her. Had she not, we'd be having kind of a different conversation. Was I suspect? I absolutely was. You know, because I saw some flaws in her game and stuff, and I didn't know. I was like, I don't know.
Right.
Because she hasn't been tested enough to step up in a high pressure. And I don't mean a friendly against, like, God knows what country.
I know, I was trying to think of somebody.
Like, so I don't mean some friendly, like, you know, in, like, Texas in the middle of nothing that you throw somebody in. I mean, put them under a serious, stressful situation.
Yeah. 30,000 people against a top.
Put them in a game that means it.
Yeah.
But we need to increase that pool, though, because look at this right now. I'm just looking at the quarterfinal matchups right here, right? Okay, yeah. So first off, like, you got Bella Bigsby, who's probably going to get thrown into the mix at some point based on just the tournament that she's having, who came out of nowhere.
But is she going to play?
Well, I mean, she.
But is she going to play? Great.
What do you mean?
She's one of the top 3 teams. She gets thrown in a national team camp. She gets taken on a trip or on a tour to the Algarve Cup when the world opens back up. Is she going to play? Are you going to play her, or are you just going to play Nair? And so, who cares if Bella Bigsby is? I mean, I don't mean that way. Obviously, I was second on the bench, and I cared. But what I'm saying is, give her time.
But look at this. Okay, so Casey Murphy, who Betos has come back in and is now playing for OL Reign. She's a veteran, 29 years old, was a former keeper of the year. You know, that's a tough situation. Okay, Jordan.
Can I also just tell you, Michelle Betos was our 4th goalkeeper in Boston in 2010. And it is incredible to see someone, her story is like ridiculous. And so it's just cool to me that she is playing again after this Achilles and going from who I knew she was to this, like.
But then it's a tough situation. Casey Murphy needs games.
But see, but you're rotating them. Fine. Yeah. Casey got a game. Then it's in this. Take advantage of this situation. Yes, you want to win the tournament. But if I saw one team like Carolina and they never played any of their other keepers and they won the tournament, good on you. You won the tournament. Who cares? Okay. What I do know is that your other keepers didn't see a single second. So great. So what if your keeper goes down and now you have a keeper that hasn't played a single minute in an NWSL game? Awesome. Well,
I mean, that's how some teams are doing it. Look, I mean, the Dash have played Jane Campbell the whole time, regardless of mistakes she's made. I mean, I love Kaylin Sheridan, but Sky Blue hasn't rotated. Aubrey Bledsoe doesn't get out of the game. You know, it's only Utah, Chicago, North Carolina. And Portland's, unfortunately, they've been stuck in a situation where they haven't been able to rotate. But
I think it's a mistake. I do. Yeah, I do too. And let them get in there. Let them prove themselves. Then you get into, the next round. And, if you're still everybody had a good game, then keep rotating them. Fine. I mean, I wouldn't say switch at halftime. That's not what I'm saying. Give a keeper a whole game. But, I think it's a mistake in this situation.
Yeah.
Jordan, I want to ask you, is there a sleeper team here that can beat North Carolina?
Oh my gosh. I saw last year, I think it was last year, there was like a power rankings and it was like North Carolina, ... like number 1.
North Carolina's bench.
Yeah. Then it was like all this space. And then it was like 2 through 8, everybody else, or 2 through 9, everybody else. Because I think that we all know it. This is soccer. Like, of course, somebody can beat North Carolina because we've seen.
God, I feel like I'm back in college.
Right?
I feel like we're talking about college soccer right
now.
Back in the 90s.
It is ironic that it's UNC North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah, right?
I know, right?
We're deja vu.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm like, are we talking about college soccer in the 90s or what?
I just think that Portland is the only team that came out of this without a win. And there's a lot of like winners on that team.
Yeah.
And they haven't played necessarily a style that has been like, oh, I can't wait to watch Portland play. I would say this, if anybody's going to beat them, it's probably going to be Portland in this first game. Okay. Just knock them straight in the teeth and try to, because if they continue to get momentum, it's just, they're
I think personally, and I don't know how you feel, Jordan, I think the most even matchup here at anybody's game is Dash Royals. I don't know who wins that.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I just think I played against Vera Boquette. She played for Portland Thorns earlier in the league, and she's so good, and she's been dominating with the Royals. And I feel like both of those teams have a midfield that is kind of finding their way together. The Dash had a really good game early on in the tournament, and this could be I agree. I think it could be a really interesting matchup.
A question for you. So, because Saskia and I were actually just talking about this off the air earlier today in regards to Abby Smith, been getting all this playing time. We all thought I had Nicole Barnhart in my Keeper Wars team because I thought she was gonna, I thought she was gonna play the majority of the tournament. I thought, well, veteran goalkeeper, it's gonna make perfect sense. We want to try to make a run, but Abby's been getting most of the games. How do you feel about her? Do you think it's time for her to become the starter for Utah?
I think Nicole Barnhart is one of those goalkeepers that has continued to do great things through her career. And it is, if Barney, like the things that she's dealing with on a day-to-day basis, it's pretty outstanding that she can still play the position the way that she plays it. But I think that there were a lot of things that worked against her in this tournament, the quick turnaround, the playing surface, the heat. So I would be, and I don't remember, are the semis and the semis,
so it's a quarter.
All the tournaments, the rest of the tournament in the grass, or is it all on the turf still?
I thought it's all on the turf. Isn't it? Is it all
I
on
think
the turf?
there's one game, maybe the final is in the stadium. Anyways, I was thinking maybe if there was a grass game, maybe you can pop her back in. But I think Abby Smith is good, and I think she deserves, like we were talking about, a lot of these goalkeepers deserve opportunities, not only to play, but to make mistakes and to get better from the mistakes.
Absolutely. And to see the other teams, to see the other players coming out, and to get a chance to play against those players. Mm-hmm. To understand, like, even when we were talking about, even like when you go to PKIs and you're talking about understanding a player that's shooting, it's the same thing when in the run of play. Understand people's, like, what they're used to do, tendencies. Thank you. And you need to experience that. It's not something that you can practice as much as you want, but it's not something that you'll get without playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and that is, going back to the national team thing, that is one of the problems. I mean, look at someone like Aubrey Bledsoe, who's been like literally on the cusp of the national team for like 5 years, and like no fault of her own. Like, but then again, like what would have been the difference between Aubrey Bledsoe being at camp and AD being at camp and never playing? So it's like, it's whatever.
I mean, look, camp's a great experience. Trust me, I love it, and everything's a great experience, and I'll never knock that. But do I wish that I had gotten more experience and more games? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Am I upset about it? No, but I'm not complaining. But it would have, I know it would have just made me an even better goalkeeper than I was.
Yeah.
Jordan, final question before we move on to our choices for Keeper Wars.
For the MLS, right?
For the MLS, yeah. In NWSL, is Jane Campbell...
Oh, I don't have my NWSL.
Is Jane Campbell the most inconsistent goalkeeper in NWSL? Because she is phenomenal some games, and then some games you're like, I can't believe that's the same goalkeeper.
A couple years ago, I was asked about goalkeeper situation with the U.S. Women's National Team, and I was like, watch out, Jane Campbell's like, she's right there. And she has just been like very up and down, which is crazy because when she's on, you're like,
she's unbelievable. She's I mean, if you just watched a highlight reel of Jane Campbell, you'd be like, oh, she's the starter for the U.S. National Team, right? That's what you would literally think. She has everything.
So it's hard to say, and I don't understand what the inconsistencies are. I would say, and you guys probably know this better than me, she has not had a very good back line to work with in the entirety of her Houston career. So I know that makes decision-making a little bit more difficult, but there probably are, even within that, places where she could have done a better job as a goalkeeper. So I'll just say that much.
Yeah. I know Saskia's number one gripe with her was set pieces. And organization for set pieces. Things as such as that wall that she set up in the first match of the group play. She was not a fan of that, but she's unbelievable with her feet, and she's so solid. And can we get Kaylin Sheridan a one-time switch to the United States? Is that possible? Can we do that?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice? Shout out to Kay.
Because she'd probably just sit back in the.
Yeah, she probably would.
That's.
As if you guys.
I know. When it is. I'm glad we're all on the same page about playing time.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this Keeper Wars thing for the fans out there.
Okay,
for the fans
tell me
out
how
there.
This works.
Okay.
Go ahead, Saskia.
No, you go. It's your game. Okay. You go.
Okay. So basically, we did for NWSL. It was really fun. We did it with Glenn Crooks, actually.
I don't know how Omar.
By the way, some people thought it was hilarious. Actually, it was very close between you and Omar. Glenn and I were nowhere in the picture. Some people responded and they went, they're like, Glenn Crooks was a goalkeeper? Because they thought it was about Glenn Crooks playing in goal. And I was like, oh, no, it's not about.
So you have to look at a keeper war like this because you're not a goalkeeper. Okay, keeper wars are keeper wars when keepers play in a goal against each other, right?
Yeah.
So you can't take this from the thought process of, well, they're like you kind of have to pick your 4 keepers as in who's really athletic.
Yeah,
who's really athletic, but also who's really smart. So, like, because keeper wars come down to some tactics as well. You know, you got a great athlete, but if I have a great arm and I'm really smart, I'm just gonna throw it in the upper 90 every time.
Right. Okay.
So you kind of have to think of it that way. But I got one.
So how do we do this?
You just
pick
4.
So you're gonna pick 4 keepers playing in the tournament right now. Okay. That if you were putting a best of 5 keeper wars team together, that you would choose on your team. So and
then our fans vote.
And then our fans vote online.
Okay.
Yeah, and then our fans vote online. Yeah.
Am I first or last or in the middle?
You can go last. So
you can go last if you want to have some time to think about it.
Give an explanation.
Okay.
So I'm going to go first with my team. Or do you want to go, Saskia?
I have Hamid, Guzan, Robles, and I have to go with the Dutch. I have to go with Vermeer.
With Vermeer. Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
I have to.
Yeah, no.
I'm Dutch. What do you want?
He had a great save.
He's good.
Yeah. I'm Dutch. I am Dutch. I mean, the only reason I was allowed to get my World Cup champion tattoo down my entire side, because my mom hated tattoos, is it's in Dutch. It is. I put it in. It's in Dutch. It says World Cup champion, and my mom was like, "Oh, well, that's cool." And I was like, "It's the only way I wouldn't have gotten in trouble."
Wait, so your team was Hamid, Vermeer, Robles, and who?
Guzan.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go with Stefan Fry. Okay, consistency right there. Andre Blake, if you saw this, couple of the saves that he made last week against NYCFC, you would understand why. Sean Johnson, because of the length, right? So you can really get that torque to throw the ball. And Luis Robles for those quick reactions. So,
yeah. All right. Okay. Well, I kind of have a couple. I'm just looking through the names one more time here to make sure.
There's only 17,000 goalkeepers in this tournament, so you know.
I know.
NWSL, it was easy. It was like, wait, which 9 people or 8 people?
Well, I had Harris.
Yeah, that's right. You had Ashlyn Harris on yours.
Yeah. So you're like, whoops, not in the tournament.
Yeah, but they didn't have to be.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going Andre Blake.
Okay.
Aloy Room. Because I've seen him do some
stuff in training. Aloy Room. I forgot about Aloy Room.
Yeah, Aloy Room.
Because of the Curacao performance or Columbus Crew bias?
No, because of Curacao performance, but also I've seen trainings. So I get a little.
So you've seen him, yeah. Oh, you got inside knowledge. That's how it goes. Okay.
It's inside information.
All right.
Yeah. Matt Turner. I'm gonna go with Matt Turner.
Oh, Head Turner. The Head Turner.
Right.
The student of the game.
And Vermeer.
Wow. Man, we got all the different choices. Cool. And guys, we're going to go to right now through the magic of editing. We're going to go to Omar Zeenni's picks. Even though he was not on the episode, he is going to be able to let you guys know his choices for Keeper Wars. Take it away, Omar. Awesome, Omar. We were really looking forward to those picks. Those are going to be absolutely fantastic to check out and see how they perform. See the magic of editing, guys. It's fantastic.
I had no idea what you were doing. Especially because we're live right now, so I was like, I thought he pre-taped it, and you wouldn't have made more sense.
That would have made more sense. That would have made a lot more sense.
Taped it, and you just threw up the video.
No,
this is for the edit later on, guys. Okay, well, whatever. Oh my gosh. Well, Jordan, are you guys recording today?
I have I have US Soccer podcast in a few minutes.
You're just a machine.
You gotta love.
I know my the person I work with here on TV calls me Recording Jordan.
It was so funny to me because when I reached out and I was like, and I didn't even think about the fact that you guys were going to go daily, and I felt so bad. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad that I asked her to do this right now. And you were going to do like a Fox show and then this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So fun.
No, we would love, I mean, you're welcome anytime, honestly.
Absolutely.
This is an absolute blast.
Especially when another goalkeeper really screws up, you should jump back on because I'll have something to say.
Yeah. I just feel so bad.
You're going to go like this. You're going to you can hear me in your ear.
Yeah. Saskia would have said.
I know Saskia's freaking out right
Well, thank you guys for having me.
For sure. Jordan, before we go, if anybody else out there wants to check out all the work that you're doing, where's the best place for them to reach out? And if anybody wants to reach out to you on social media, where is the best social media platform for you?
Yeah, you can just follow me at Jordan Angeli. It's just my name squished together. In college, one of the guys on the men's team told me that was my Brazilian name. So I was like, all right, I'm sticking with that. Jordan Angeli. So I'm at Jordan Angeli on Twitter and Instagram, and I have pretty much everything linked there. So you can just go there and check everything out. Very,
very awesome. By the way, was your goalkeeper? Bianca Henniger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's right.
Talk about a girl that could stop PKs. Man, she was a beast.
Yeah, she was. I remember from the youth level.
There's a specialty in it.
Yeah, she was just so good at it. So
she was. Did she?
And I wasn't like the Stanford keeper, like coming out talking trash and all that stuff.
No.
Like I just was in my own world. I didn't even care who was shooting on me.
Hold on, there's a whole story behind that Katie story from last year with the PKs and stuff like that. But
trust me, that UCLA girls want to talk. They want nothing to do with any. They want nothing. They don't want nothing to do with Stanford. When I even bring it up and stuff, and just interested in what everybody's thoughts on it, they're like, "What? Who? Shut up, Saskia." Sorry.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah, they're upset about their semifinal game. They don't want to talk about anything else. So
that was UNC, right?
Their semifinal.
Wasn't
their semifinal was Stanford.
Oh, that's right. It was Stanford. That's right. It was Stanford last year. That's right.
Yeah, remember.
Then Stanford moved on to the final.
Tegan kind of didn't have a really good game. So.
Oh boy. Well, we got to start. Let's end on a positive note. Remember, guys, if you guys want to join in on the Keeper Wars contest, contact at Inside the 18. That's the number 18 media.com. Also send in your guest suggestions or topic suggestions. Shout out to everybody who said we got to do some MLS is back tournament stuff. That's why we had Jordan here for that. At Goalkeeper Podcast on all social media platforms, at Saskia_Weber. That's all the time on Inside the 18. I've got to go clean up all these lights. See y'all later. And we're off the air. Jordan,
awesome.
This was so much fun. So the next
great.
one, is it USL that you're doing next?
No, I do a US soccer podcast with Charlie Davies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we have Sam Mewis. It'll come out on Friday.
Oh, nice. So is Charlie doing media now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
He works for MLSsoccer.com. He does some stuff with them. And then he is the color commentator for New England. And
okay.
I think he was going to do some games on Fox this year. I think a couple, but not anymore. Well,
gotcha.
Right now.
Gotcha.
Well,
cool.
And I did get a very good workout in, by the way.
Oh, you got a great workout in? The gym's just been shut down here, by the way, Jordan.
Oh yeah. Oh, I have. I made my own gym.
Yeah.
Did you?
Girl.
There you go. Make it. You make it happen. You make it happen.
I try.
Oh boy.
Not as often as possible.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna head out. Jordan, please don't be a stranger. Awesome.
So good to talk to you guys.
Actually, my dog's about to go crazy because
can you show
Amazon's here.
She wanted to see. Did you want to see the dogs?
Oh, they didn't even.
Amazon's
here.
Right.
That's why.
We'll see you guys later. All right, bye.